Rosie, I'm going to make a little stir fry and I'm going to use the broccolini, which is like the baby brother or the baby sister of the broccoli family. It's got a nice long stem to it, a little head on the top of it, and I love it. It's something you find in a lot of Italian restaurants. We'll do a little sautéed broccolini with chilli and garlic. I'm going to do an Oriental version of it.
Very cute, isn't it?
Now, to start with, I've got some chicken there, some chicken breast, skin removed. Now, to that, I'm going to add some ketchup manis, which is a sweet Indonesian-style soy sauce. You can see it's quite syrupy, and it's got a real sweetness to it. I love it. You can use any sort of soy sauce, but I love the caramelised sort of flavour that
tamari as well, couldn't you?
Exactly, exactly. And I'm also going to use this, which is very, very common in Asia. It's a seasoning mix, and you'll often see it on tables in soup kitchens or curry houses, and you put a couple of drops of that on there. And Rosie, what I'm going to get you to do is just stir that around nice and gently so everything's incorporated. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to season it up, put a little bit of salt in there, and of course some pepper goes in there as well.
Because heart disease is rife.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, not in this kitchen.
Still the
biggest killer. Not in this kitchen.
If you have a look over here, this dot here is actually a thermo spot.
Should I touch it?
No, don't touch it, because when it's full like that, what it is telling me that it's red hot and ready to go. So I've got to act nice and quickly. So stir that around. Once you've stirred that around, I've got some mushrooms here. I've got some shiitake mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, king brown mushrooms and enoki mushrooms. I want you to slice up the shiitake mushrooms nice and thin, and some of these oyster mushrooms as well. We won't need all of them, but if you can slice them up, that'd be great.
You've got it.
In the meantime, I've got an onion here, and I'm just going to slice this nice and thin all the way through. Now, I know that pan is really, really hot, so what I'm going to do, Rosie, is slice all this stuff nice and thin, add it to the pan, and then add the oil. That way, I stay in control. Usually what I'd like to do is throw everything into the pan and just heat it up slowly, and that way I can stay nice and in control, but I'm just going to live on the edge here like this. I'm going to use a hot pan for a change. Ginger I've sliced nice and thin like this, and I'm just going to slice it into what we call julienne, which are thin strips. And that's going to be delicious when we eat the stir fry. Now what I'm going to do is slice the broccoli nice and thin like this on an angle. We want to be able to cook it all the way through in the pan, but I don't want it too thick. I want it to be able to cook quickly in the pan, and that way I don't have to blanch it or cook it in any water. There'll be enough heat in the pan and enough liquid, because I do have a little bit of water aside to heat it up. Now that's about enough. And I've also got some chilli powder here. Now I know this is nice and hot. You can see it smoking. And this is a good tip. If you do have a hot pan like this is a great tip for actually getting everything started without burning yourself. In goes the onions and the garlic and the ginger. In go the mushrooms as well. You'd love to chop them off. There'd be one little cut.
Every day I have one little go.
There we go. Now I've just got that going. What I'm going to do now is add the oil, and as I add the oil, you can see it really starts to get nice and hot. Stir it around like that. A nice amount of oil, because the mushrooms are like sponges. They will soak up some of that oil. Bit of salt in there and a little bit over my shoulder. There we go. Some over my right shoulder, some over my left. Give that a bit of a toss like that. There we go. That's coming together beautifully.
The vegetarian meat, that is.
Exactly, exactly. And I've got some of these enoki mushrooms. I'm going to throw some of them in as well and let them settle down. Now, because this is nice and hot, what I'm going to do is just move the mushrooms over to one side, and I'm just going to grab that chicken. That chicken that you've marinated beautifully, that's going to go in there as well. Just a couple of little slices on the side there, and this will brown off nicely. I've also got some chilli in there, a good sprinkle of chilli all the way around. You could use fresh chilli if you want, but I'm going to use some dried chilli. Great flavour. These king browns are going to go in there as well, and they'll stay nice and firm. Now all I do is toss that around like that, and you can see it caramelising beautifully, can't you?
Yeah.
And at this stage is when I add my broccolini. Now all I need to do is toss that off a couple of times, maybe just a touch more salt, maybe just a touch more pepper, just to make it tasty. This will take about a minute or so. We'll add some water chestnuts and cashews, a few fresh herbs, and it will be delicious. What do you think of that, Rosie?
That is smelling good. Lovely, nice colour on there as well. I think because of the darkness of the soys there.
Well, we're also going to add some...
coriander.
The coriander is good. We're going to add some of the coriander and the spring onion to give it even more colour. The soy and the mushrooms are quite dark.
Yes.
But do you like how the coriander gives it that lovely fresh flavour? Oh,
absolutely. And it's iconic to the kind of dish that you're doing, so absolutely love it. A little bit of water chestnut there.
We love them. A few of these.
Yummy. Gives that a nice crunch as well, isn't it?
There we go, Rosie. Bring it home. What are these?
Cashews!
Oh, your favourite
we love
thing.
them. Lots of omega-3. That's why our brains are just punching all the time.
And you're going to tell me something about sesame seeds
Sesame seeds, the magnesium of the world. So they make us nice and relaxed, so we'll eat them and have a lovely sleep.
Now, you don't know about this one. This is rice wine. A little splash of this one goes in there.
Lovely.
Just to give it a bit of a tickle. Round it goes. A little bit of a toss like that. Beautiful. Look at that. It looks fantastic. Now, if you can bring that plate over, Rosie, pop it into the centre here. I'm just going to take this out like this. Listen to the sizzle. The chicken's cooked all the way through. It looks like a great dish. There we go.
The thing is, that was just so quick, Adrian. That's the thing. You could feed a family of 4 to 6 there. All of that.
Well, if I brought this home to my house, I reckon I'd only be able to feed 2 people because I have 3 very hungry boys and they would devour this in seconds. Now, I'm going to have a little taste of that. I'm going to have a piece of the broccolini.
That was the bit I had my eye on.
I'm going to put that there.
Oh,
You can have the
that's okay.
broccolini.
I've got that bit.
I'm going to have the chicken and the mushrooms. I'll tell you how good these are and you tell me how crunchy, flavoursome, delicious, nutritious that broccolini is.
Now, I love broccoli now, but the little baby broccolini, I absolutely love it. You've done a beautiful job and you've cooked it perfectly.
You know what, Rosie? I think we've done some great broccoli dishes. My bacon, your soup, and of course this stir fry. Which do you think is a favourite?
Oh, I think it has to be my soup, of course. But I just love that we've shown that it's not evil. It can actually do real good, real good. This is nutritious stuff.
I knew you'd say that.